trying to touch base. I'm back on what I'm working on, and I've been working a little bit on some Structy. Hopefully I don't get flagged for Charlie Brown, but we're gonna find out. But I've been working back on Structy. I love Structy. Especially, it's such a great beginner course on how to work on your algos. So I've been trying to do some random ones from time to time, and today I was working on some tree sum. But let's go ahead and try to recall what I remember. So we're gonna write a function called tree sum that takes in the root of a binary tree that contains number values. The function should return the sum of all the values in the trees. Okay. Hi Richard, how are you? Bye from... I just need to do this quickly. Really? Okay. You're watching me on mute. Video. Display. Everything should be working. Video should be working. Let me know if that works, Richard. I think I made it work. I think. Let me know. I am just doing something here quickly. Okay. Where did this? Copy link. Okay. Let me know if that works and if I'm being loud enough for you to hear me. But we're gonna go ahead and work on Structy. So we're gonna do some little algos. We're gonna dive in a little bit on some projects I'm working on, and we're gonna dive into some open source as well. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started. So we're gonna write a function called tree sum that takes in the root of a binary tree that contains number values. So the function should return the total sum of all the values in the trees. So, okay, let's go ahead and talk about our inputs and our outputs, and also walk through some examples of what we anticipate to go ahead and see. So, as we can see here, so we're gonna go ahead and receive a root node of a binary tree. So this would be different from a binary search tree. So, but what we're going to need to do is return an integer of total sum of all the nodes in the tree, all the node values in the tree. Well, let's see, does it work? Okay, hopefully it works. Hopefully the audio and everything is working. But let's go ahead and walk through an example. So if I have a root node of a binary tree that has a value of 5, and there is a left child. Oops, make this a little bit more this way. There's a right child. Maybe we'll make this more angled. There we go. That looks more like a binary tree. This one's at -3 for, so the left child has a value of -3. We're going to say right now that there is no right child. So we anticipate that to be null. And when you see null, you can go ahead and just return 0. So ultimately, if we go ahead and add the sum up of all the value of the nodes that we see, essentially you can think of null as just 0. So you can definitely think of it as just 0, and then we can say that, hey, 5 plus -3, that should equal 2. So total sum for all of this should be 2 that I anticipate to go ahead and see back. Okay, so when I think about it like that, I can go ahead and traverse tree sum via DFS. And when I think about DFS, you're going to do a recursive call all that time. So with a recursive call, the base case is if there's no more node or if there's no root, we're going to return just 0. Else we're going to keep calling a recursive case. We're going to keep calling and adding to the total for left side and right side. So the way I would write this out is I would say, hey, if not root, if there is an empty root, we're going to return 0. Else what we're going to do is we're going to say, hey, trees, we're going to call root.left, and then we're going to do tree sum on root.right. So we're going to add all of the sum from everything from the left side, and then we're going to go ahead and traverse all the way down on the right side and add all of the values together. So we're going to say, hey, go ahead and do that, and this should return me back a value. So this will give me back integers. So what we can just do, didn't mean to cancel over. So we can say return root.val, add on to that value, and add on to root.right. Yes. Okay, so by doing this, let's go ahead and talk about some time complexity and space complexity as well. So what's going to happen for time is going to be O of n, because you need to visit at least n number of nodes. So you're going to go ahead and visit this for n amount of nodes that are available in the tree. So we're going to have to visit at least each node at least one time in that binary tree. And we're talking about space-wise, it's going to be O of n as well, pertaining at the number of nodes as well. Because we're going to have to store each node in there as well into the stack. Because with DFS, the underlying data structure that you're going to use for it is the stack. So that's what we're going to go ahead and do. I'm going to say it's time and space is O of n for both. When I think about tree sum here, let me go ahead and write this down in my algo as well. I love doing it into my algo quickly. Mid-m, add it in, git push. Perfect. Okay. So when I think about this, you could definitely solve this via BFS as well. You can solve this as BFS as well. I think about if BFS or DFS, which way it would benefit you more. Since we're talking about the sum of all the nodes, then I prefer to do it DFS because we're going to travel as deep as we can. But if we're talking about give me the total of the sum by levels, I would go for BFS instead. And with BFS, let me go ahead and write out the BFS. Oh, sorry, excuse me. And then, okay, let me go ahead and write out the BFS. So BFS, when you think about BFS, we're going to use the underlying data structure of a queue. This uses a queue. But in Python case, it's going to be a deek. Uses a queue, but Python will use a dequeue. And then so with this, what's gonna happen is that we're gonna go ahead and use a DQ, and the DQ essentially is a double-ended Q. Let me think back, because I'm trying to brush back on my memory. But DQ is definitely a double-ended. I know you can use the left and the right side of the DQ, but in the purpose of using the DQ, we're gonna make it act like a regular Q, where you're gonna only, because Q is first in, first out. Because you think about like waiting in line for movie theater, the first person gets in, and they are the first person to go in. So the first person waiting in line gets to go in first. So we're gonna make it act like a regular queue with FIFO. And with this, so what we're gonna do is pop off the current queue, our current node in the stack. And then we're gonna add the current value to the total. And then if there are any left children added to the queue, that's my fault, queue, if there are any right children added to the queue, and we're going to keep going until the queue is empty. So, and then we're going to return the total. Okay, so here we're going to say that from collections import DQ. And so that's what we're going to say here. And then we're going to say the total sum is equal to 0. And we're going to say, hey, our queue right now is going to be a DQ of the root, val of the root. Oh, so it's going to hold down the root. And then while the queue is not empty, we're going to say the current is equal to queue.popleft. So while the queue is not empty, we're going to go ahead and pop out the current queue, and we're going to say, hey, total sum plus equal current.val. And now we're going to check that, hey, if the current.left, if it has a left child, let's go ahead and say q.append the current.left child. And if you have a right child, let's go ahead and add in the right child. Return total sum. Okay, so essentially this is what this is saying that, let me bring down my example tree here a little closer. So, okay, so our example tree, so let's go ahead and walk through an example from my example that I had earlier. So what it's saying right now is saying, hey, right now our queue is holding the value of 5, which is our root node. And then we're going to pop it off. We're going to pop it off and we're going to add it to the total sum. As you can see, our total sum right here is 0. But now that once we add it to the total sum, our total sum is going to be a total of 5. And now we have to go ahead and add in our left child, which we're going to go ahead and add it to the queue. And -3 is going to go pop on. But if current right, if you do have any right child, let's go ahead and add you as well. Which we don't, but we do have a -3. So we're going to go ahead and pop it off here as well, because the queue is still not empty. So we still need to go through this while loop. Oh, excuse me. So we still need to go through this while loop, and then once we keep adding to it, so we're going to pop off the -3 that we're holding. And as you can see, plus -3, as you can see, the total sum modifies to 2. And then if there's any left child, which there isn't, if there's any right child, which there isn't, we can go ahead and exit, because now our queue is empty. So we're going to return our total sum of 2. As you can see, I feel very strongly for that, and I will go ahead and press it. Okay, current.val. It doesn't like current.val. None type has, because the reason why I did current.val is because it's self.val for this class node. Is it current? I don't think it should be current. While queue import DQ current.val. I do think it's current.val. because we're going to pop off the entire node, but what we really care for at the end of the day is the value. The value, was my error again? None type object has no, okay, so it's saying that my none type print current, because current should be a node. Okay, so it's saying right now that my current is an empty. But it shouldn't be empty if I went ahead and initialized it with the root node. If I say, hey, Q, you're gonna start out with a DQ of, let's look at my Q then. DQ of none. Oh, okay, I know why, okay, so with this, what I need to do to take care of that, if essentially what it's saying that, okay, if our root node is none, then we can just automatically return 0 because we don't need to go ahead and do any math to go ahead and sum up all the total. So we can, that's what's currently happening right now because it's saying it's none because our root node is none. So this should be able to go ahead and take care of it. Yes. Oh yeah, let's talk about time and space complexity as well. So our time will be O of n for n number of nodes. And then we're going to talk about space as well. And space is going to be for n of nodes as well. And then so time is going to be, we're going to visit each node at least one time. So we need to visit all of the nodes. So that would be O of n operation. So based on how many nodes there are available. And then space is going to be O of n as well because the cube can keep growing as we keep adding more of the children as well. And let me add it in to this as well. I should really think about making this terminology a little bit like shorter, but all will come soon. So add it in BFS, git push. Okay, so that was really fun, but I wanted to go ahead and give you guys a preview of what the heck I'm working on. Let me go ahead and spin it up. Okay, so I'm excited to go ahead and show you guys. Okay, so this finding out a name for an app has been one of the hardest things for me. I cannot figure out the names for the apps, but this is what I'm kind of coming up for when when a user logs in. This is what they're gonna see. I'm still working on the sign up and the login page at the moment. But this is what I'm currently working on. As you can see, what I have is like a nav bar ready, a little homepage area, text area, and then the AI suggestions, and then also a footer as well. I can definitely make the all of this section a little bit prettier, but definitely this is what I'm just working on and getting started. Also, I do like this as well because I want users, not only just users that want to go ahead and use this as well, but then future potential employers. Hello, I am available for work, to be able to go ahead and play with and see what I've been able to go ahead and create with this. So what I have right now is I have this available, and what this is going to do right here in this text area is that you need to go ahead and provide the condition update about the patient that's currently in the hospital, or even if you go get a checkup or something like that, you wanted to know more information about what the doctor has stated, because you only have like a finite amount of time that you can sit with your doctor or physicians and get your status update. So in order for you to know more information about that or be able to do something with that, you'll go ahead and go in here and tell the AI that, like, hey, I had high blood pressure I'm not good with blood pressure, but like 120 out of 80, I don't even know if that's good yet. But I wanted to go, oh, okay, I'm gonna break it. But that would definitely break it. But what's gonna do it here, I got the clear job description working. But what it will do is it will go ahead and based on your condition that you stated, the AI will go ahead and recommend you some, not recommend, but be able to simplify the diagnosis of what's currently happening, maybe some further steps. The reason why this like application came to birth is because a loved one of mine was in the hospital, and we did get a lot of updates, and I was like, one, there's a lot going on. Two, I was like, how should I digest this information? It was a lot going on at that time. And then three, it was like, what can I do further about this information? Like, how can I gather more and get myself to be more knowledgeable and more aware of what's going on? So this came to birth of this application right here. I hope it will help others as well, as we had to learn about new sicknesses in such a short notice, and I hope that this will be able to help you. It's not like as it says right here, it's not for a medical diagnosis, but maybe hopefully it's a learning stone or a stepping stone for you to learn and understand and be able to pick up quickly. So this is what I'm hoping to achieve with it, help others be able to pick up and learn as they go along as well. So this is what I have thus far. So as I mentioned, my components are the nav bar, footer, the text area, the doctor's note, and also the AI suggestions. So I have yet to link it to Supabase, get all that going. I'll get all the fetching going on, but that's so far so good. So yeah, this is what I have going on right now, what I'm working on. And I'll be right back. I need to blow my nose quick. welcome back. I mean, I definitely talk a little bit about code as well. As you can see here, I'm trying to work on doing a sign up with Zod as well. We're gonna go ahead and update it in real time as well with like the form. As you can see, there's gonna be email, password, confirm password for sign up. But for login, it will just be an email and a password. So confirm password is typically used for sign ups. So this is what I'm gonna do here. That also reminds me, let me make a mental note because I'm gonna forget. My mental note. um, okay, mental note noted. Okay. So now this is done. I've been working on some open source. I've been looking to go back as well. And what I'm going to do is, oh my goodness. Okay, wait. Let me get you off the screen for a bit and then I'll come back. Okay, I am back. That's how you know when I've been MIA for a long time. Because typically that never really happens to me. But, you know, I've just been busy the last couple weeks and we're starting to work on that. So, yeah. Okay, so I am going to go ahead and go to my profile. So here in my profile, I've been working more on projects, I think about myself. I think about like, hey, what sparks joy or what doesn't spark joy. And as I've been working more with signups and log in, log out, or yeah, with sign up and login, I detest. I don't really care about authentication, so I know for sure if I'm looking for a job, I don't want to work on that. Well, I don't want to specialize in that because one thing I've been told lately is to go ahead and specialize in something, but you know, not that for me. I'm okay. I just, yeah, authentication, authorization, the sign up, and the login. It's hefty. So maybe I definitely just need to put myself in it. We'll see where I am a year from now. But as of right now, I'm not a big fan. But we'll see. It's definitely more to come on that. Hey, I definitely need to update these as well. Okay, but more to come on that. We'll update our portfolio next week. So many exciting things that we've been working on. So, yes, I am going to my repos. So here are my repos. As you can see, I was working on Next.js. I've been kind of working on, so what I'm going to do here, as you can see, I'm 400 commits behind. You can definitely update the branch. Via like a git pull into your Visual Studio Code, but I typically go here and I'll do that as well. And I'll look into these pull requests. Please help as you get started on your pull request. I was looking for, I'll go here. Yes, okay, there it is. Sometimes I'll go, yeah, so, well, welcome, Chris. Happy to have you here. Thank you so much for stopping by. So, yeah, so what I'll come and do here is I'll look at labels. Not like that, but I'll look at labels here. A lot of these are repos that I've been working on for open source. They'll have like good first issues and they'll go ahead and tag it. And one thing I look for is to make sure that no one else is working on it at the moment, and if it's something I can do, and also if something I'm interested in as well. So I try to pay attention to that. So the newest one has been back from 2023. I think that's so interesting. Cursor. Is Cursor AI open source? I don't think it is, but I'm curious. Okay, Cursor AI itself is a closed source. Okay, yes. But there's a strong open source movement creating alternatives that could offer. Because one thing I've noticed about myself is that I've been using a lot more of refrigerator to the ones you like us to prioritize. Interesting. Okay. Interesting. Okay, so they have a lot of issues and all that stuff, but it seems like they're not open source, so I wouldn't be able to work on it. So I want to go ahead and try to go ahead. Oops, okay. His cursor. Okay. So I want to go ahead and look into this. Been using this for quite a few years. Open source Cursor AI. Oh, I'm not looking for like Cursor AI alternative. I was looking to see if there's any other code repo that I could work on that uses AI too as well. Yeah, but another one that I've been kind of eyeing is Material UI GitHub as well. So when I first started out coding, one of the first library that I used was Material UI, and I love how easy it was. Also, Material UI has some good open. It had some good first issue open as well. Okay, maybe they don't anymore, but that's okay. I am curious what is open lately. But sometimes I'll look at a pull request. I like to be able to go ahead and see. So a lot of these seems like it was their bot that did it. It's, sometimes I like going in and looking and reviewing code reviews and seeing how that is. And giving my like thought process to it as well. So that's what I've been doing. So we're gonna fix the keyboard navigation behavior in Safari. I wonder what was happening. The things that I love reading about these PR tickets is like they explain the problem, how they're gonna diagnose it, and what they solved. So I like learning like why was this ticket open in the first place, and then how they went about to go and solve it. So yeah. So accessibility, navigation, behavior of the rating component. Primarily focus on the inconsistent, incorrect behavior in Safari. So this is such a good reminder that with accessibility, you needed to work in Firefox, Chrome, and Safari. So all browsers handle things a little bit different. So in keyboard events definitely from other browsers. As a result, keyboard users experience a bug. So the rating key component being skipped entirely during tab. I see. So it doesn't work from the correct star. Inconsistent behavior. This PR makes the rating component fully keyboard accessible. This PR introduces several improvements. Added alias for Safari. See left, right, up, down. Okay. Only one radio input is tabbable at any time. If the value is equal to null, the empty radio has tab index of this. Added a guard using this. So yes, they also did some testing. Yeah, one thing I learned with these PR is that you also get to do some testing in it as well. Most of the times when you submit a PR, it will always involve some kind of testing. Not always, but 99.999% of the time there are a lot of testing. So yeah. You can see it. Tab, tab. But my thing is, wouldn't I need to, if I'm going to review this PR, wouldn't it makes it more sense to go ahead and be able to open up in Safari? And even I don't know if I have Safari. I should have Safari. So let's go ahead and check this out. So add an alias, but also let's go ahead and look at the file exchange as well. So one thing is to be able to read the code. One is to be able to read the code, and then two is to be able to like test it out and actually play with it. My thing here, so this is for dogs, but why does the dogs, if it's just dogs, why does it get a lot of code? Doc translations in the package isn't the rating. So here is actually where the code that I feel like it makes sense. And I had to read back on their thing as to why the doc got updated. But for the rating, this is what I anticipated to see, because they did mention a lot of left, right arrows, up, down. There's a home key and an end key. I don't think I have a home key or an end key that I know of. I'm on a Mac, but I don't think I have a home or an end key. I know that if I picture like a keyboard for Windows, there's a home and an end key. But I never thought about including that. So see, by reading all these PR requests, you think about like other additional buttons that you probably should add. So returns undefined if the key isn't a navigation key. Index 0 means empty, so it returns null. So this is saying, hey, we're gonna go ahead, the total steps, so it's calculating out the total steps. It's gonna go ahead and round it down by max by the precision, const current index. I am interested. Maybe I need to read a little bit more in depth, but then I am trying to understand as to why it's evaluating the index. And maybe the only reason why I can think about like why you want to keep track of an index, it's almost like a certain web pages. Like you keep going forward and forward, but what if you want to go back? Is that what it's doing? Saying like, hey, if I went forward 3 times, but then I want to go back. Let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know your thoughts are. That's what I'm trying to think in my head as to why we're calculating this. Yeah, the navigation key. So let next index, and this is gonna go ahead and check, is key this key or key up? And they did it on a switch case statement. If the ink next into plus, okay, oh, if you are increasing, add 1. If you are decreasing, make minus equal 1. If you are home, it's 0. Otherwise, we're gonna go ahead and end it. Okay, else return undefined. Interesting. If the next index is greater than total steps, it is 0. Your wraparound. Yes, it is. Hi, welcome to the chat. So this is the rating component for Material UI. So I'm gonna go ahead. Let me go back because I probably should reread it as well. So sometimes I go into Material UI and I'll look at some of the pull requests or look at any of the good first issues. And right now I'm looking at some of the pull requests, and this is one of the pull requests that I'd opened up, and it's talking about how like they're updating keyboard accessibility and navigation behavior of the rating component. And so I thought I would go ahead and read through the code that they implemented just to see if it's logical and makes sense before actually going out there and testing it on Safari. So they said that this is for Safari case. Otherwise, yes, I would have tested it in Chrome, which, as you can see right here, I have Chrome. But I have to look to see if there's Safari. I feel like with MacBooks, they do have Safari. But I am just looking, okay. So it does. Okay, so as a result, keyboard users experience a bug. So the rating component being skipped entirely during the tab navigation because you want a user to be able to tab. So the arrow key is not starting navigation from the correct start. I think that's why they were adjusting the place. They were calculating out the placements. That's why they're a plus equal 1 increment, minus equal 1 decrement. And if you were at home, you start at 0. And end, it means here we calculated the final last steps. And the navigation was jumping by 2 steps instead of 1. Inconsistent behavior between empty and non-empty rating states. So this PR makes the rating component fully keyboard accessible and consistent across all major browsers. So what they did, they added an alias. I saw that they did add left, right, up, down. I saw that. And they normalized navigation through next value for key helper. That is interesting. Okay, so reliable, predictable, focused behavior, roving tab index. Only one radial input is tabbable at any time. Otherwise, the currently selected star has tab index equal to 0. All other radials uses a tab index equal -1. I wonder. So one thing that I think about here is why did navigation start jumping it by 2? Was it due to the browser or was it due to the code? I am kind of curious because when we go back and look at this, I am trying to. Oh, thank you, Chris. I appreciate that. But when I go back and look at this, typically, as you can see here, when you're reviewing the code, everything on your left is the previous code and everything on your right is the new code. But as you can see here, everything right here seems like they're all brand new. So my only thing is it doesn't look like it's the code's fault for making it +2 all the time. Because I'm looking, in order to understand where we are now, where were we before? So as you can see, I don't see anything that it calculated or made it plus or jump by 2. So I thought that was kind of interesting. So before we go into the test, I was just looking at the code itself. So nothing here was doing any calculations beforehand, as you can see. Interesting. Okay, so it seemed like nothing else was doing that calculation before, hence why it was needed to, what's the word I'm looking for? Before it was like implied that, hey, it will go ahead and do, the steps will be added by 1. But now we're explicitly actually listing it out and stating it out that, hey, this is what's going to happen. So hence why you have to identify all of the directions and then you'll go ahead and do the math for all the directions. Yeah. Okay. Totally makes sense. Okay. Okay. Why did we take on key down? But the reason why on key down is probably taken out because we do handle key down here in decrement. Oh, does adding the calculation look good to you, Fluster.io? Is that what you're saying? The calculation's right here? since it's no longer being used and this is no longer being used, they got it taken out. Anything that's related to it. Okay, get star tab index. So if read only or disable, return -1. Value rounded. Rated value. Item value. Okay, so get star index. So you're gonna focus on the rating input. If there's no, yeah, you always need something like this. If there's no incident of it, we're just gonna go ahead and return. Do nothing, but just let's skip out of this function is what it's gonna imply. Or we're not gonna even run the rest of this function. So con selector value is equal to new value, which is equal to null. String of the new value. Right. Okay, because yeah, I was thinking about it like this star tab index is what you're referring to, right, Fluster.io? Because I didn't see. Okay. Get start tab. Okay, so the function is identified here, roll 601. But okay, but it gets used later on. Okay. Okay, right, okay. So, okay, let's go ahead and jump down to it. So get star tab index. It doesn't get used until here. Wait a second, because this looks so familiar. Wasn't there lines up here, but they got removed? Oh no, okay. They actually got added. So they added on key down tab index is what they added. And then that's how on key down got added here, and then tab index got added here. And then tab index will go ahead and use the function there to grab that item, which will be the number. Get star tab, return -1. Item value is equal to the value rounded. So, and then you're passing into the rating item for the tab index. I think the reason why, that's what I thought too, but I think the reason why you're doing this is that you can calculate the tabs correctly. If I'm not mistaken, I think that's what he stated in his ticket. Oh, sorry. Because in his ticket, he stated normally the next value for key. Okay, right here is the tab index. It's a more predictable focus behavior. Only one radial input is tabbable anytime. If it's null, the empty radial has index of 0. Otherwise, the currently selected star has tab index of 0. All others will use this. So it's in regards to just... So this is just in regards to your radial input, making sure that you can only choose one radial input. Because if I get star, okay, because yeah, that does make sense. That if it's read only or disable, we're just gonna return -1. Because am I thinking, if I see like radial button components right now, I think about something that's read only and disable. So if it's read only or disabled, that means that you can't highlight it or you can't click on it. So we'll automatically just assign that to -1. A -1 means that, hey, all the other radios use that's not being selected. Essentially, it's just not being selected. And if the value around it is equal to null, no worries. Oh my goodness. No worries. You know what? I think they have. Oh my goodness, you're so right. Rating component. This is what their rating component look like. So the way I picture it is, that's my fault too. I should have pulled that up. But yeah, so as you can see right here, the rating component, it is a radio. Essentially, it's kind of like a radio button, and you can go ahead and select. I can see that. Yes. So when I look at all of these ratings, they all do look like radio buttons. So, yeah, I can see that. Okay, as technically you could have sliders as a rating too, but here per MUI, the rating is gonna be an icon. So I can see icons being more of acting as radios. I can definitely see that. Otherwise, this is equal to how much has been selected. Otherwise, it's 0. Otherwise, the empty radio has. Otherwise, if it's 0, it's an empty. Otherwise, a currently selected star. Oh, if it's empty, it has tab index. So it's empty, or if it's currently selected, it has a tab index of 0. Interesting. It ensures Safari can correctly enter the component via the tab key. That makes sense because you want to make sure you are able to go ahead and tab through and select. As you can see. Pretty cool. Okay. That makes sense. Okay. And now you're going to do the focus rating input. If there's no root ref, we're just going to exit this function. Otherwise, hey, our selector value is going to be based on a new value. If it's equal to null, then just leave it empty. If it's empty, we're just going to leave it as empty. Otherwise, we're going to create a new value. Input to focus. So it's going to go ahead in query selector. It's going to select an input with the name and the value. If you do have an input, it's going to be, you're going to use the method.focus on it. I have to look this up. Event default prevented. Isn't it more for forms? But how does that relate to a rating component? That is interesting. Oh, I see. Yeah, so but then the user would have to go in and deselect it. So if the person is setting the tab index to the last star, because in my head, if I'm thinking about it, what I would do is initially, I thought rating components, say for instance we saw this, I thought it would initially just be empty. So then the user can go ahead and update it. So I guess I can see that where as you're stating, they're updating the tab index to the last star. So if we're talking about, like in this example right here, this is the last star. Yeah. Keeps the behavior consistent across browsers. I thought prevent default was only for forms. could be incorrect. Event app default. Handle key down. Only if it does exist. Only if it does exist. I love how they handle these edge cases, such as if it's read-only disabled, then just go ahead and add it like this. So I like that. And then they added into their rest. Const checked equal. So you're gonna expect checked to have attribute. So this is gonna be a function, and it's gonna look for an input with the name of the rating test. It should loop the arrow key. Oh, interesting. But now that we read through it, how can we test it? You can definitely test it by running codes. You can run this test in the code base as well. But I was wondering if I could open this up in Safari. I'm just trying to think if I could. I would probably have to CD into their branch. And then be able to go ahead and test it out that way. That's what I'm thinking. But I am gonna go ahead and make some dinner, so I will be back later on. Thank you for coming and hang out with me tonight. I really appreciate all of you guys for coming out. So I'll see you guys next week. Sounds like a plan. So we'll definitely talk soon. Oh, having a code? How fun! Let's figure this out.